Yes.
You need two.
That's
So I'm gonna show this to you.
That's creepy, actually.
Are you saying I'm needy?
Oh, no
You are
way.
needy, yes.
Don't start. Don't get him started.
I never stop. You can't even have a phone conversation with the guy.
I don't
He's
call
got-
him for that reason.
Yeah, the puns just fly.
I don't call him for that reason.
How freaking sweet is that?
So, are you gonna will you do anything with that by the end of the day? Or will you just dump it?
No, I'll just delete it. Like, I'll look at it, I'll read it, and I'll be like, oh, this is going on, that's going on. If there was anything that I need to know out of it, like I could, like as follow-up, but hell, it even put the right names in there and everything.
Oh my God.
Isn't that scary?
That's so scary. So did you see, there was Bryce was on the call this morning, but he wasn't on the
But I
call?
wasn't on the call.
Was it his otter?
And it takes
His
notes.
otter AI?
It was my note,
Yes.
yeah, it was my note taker.
Do you know about
Do you
that?
do that when you go to like a listing appointment? I've been wanting to do it and just take notes when they give you a tour of the house, but I feel like it looks funny having your phone out recording.
But don't you have your phone out taking pictures sometimes?
Well, I have
That's what I'm talking
I have a Plod device that just goes on the back of my phone and you would never know that it's recording.
about. Hilarious.
That's the thing.
Alright.
I just have my phone sitting next to me during the meeting and it'll take.
So you do have it on during meetings?
Well, sometimes,
say you
yeah,
can't?
just depends.
Do you tell them I need a date?
No,
Well, if you need data.
Yeah, I mean,
What data is it?
Well, that's why I asked somebody smart, but
That's it.
it's a one
I got
party
one
state, so I don't
smart
have.
On
to
your
know.
wrist.
I
So
wanted
is
to
this
ask
from
somebody
Check?
smart, and I asked somebody that's a smarty.
No,
Yes.
well, the things we were talking about is through Zoom and Calendly. And then the other thing is just a device that I bought that's called Plod. And it's just a recording thing that has a transcription and AI note-taking, summarizes everything, puts it in and emails it out. It's pretty sweet. Cause I hate taking notes. I don't wanna sit there and write.
When I get done, I can barely read my own writing.
I know.
Me too, and it's all over the place.
For real.
But you can take
Especially
a
when you're doing
picture
it
of
on
that.
a clipboard and you walk around trying to take notes on things. Yeah.
But you can take a picture of that in your AI and it'll organize it for you too. Like if you take a bunch of notes and it's all scattered all over, just take a picture of it and plug it into your ChatGPT and it'll spit out the notes for you.
Okay, I thought I was doing really good with AI doing this.
You're
Like,
getting there.
that's
Hey,
nothing.
it's, they're all gateway behaviors.
They're all
It's like-
weird behaviors.
It's like your first J. Hey, good morning, kids.
That's not a gateway. I haven't gone anywhere else.
Hey, just because the gate was open, you didn't go through it, doesn't mean it wasn't a gateway.
Yeah, time out. Wait, what are we talking about?
We're
here?
talking about
We'll fill you in.
winning with buyers. We're talking about winning with buyers. It's a happy Tuesday morning. Got Maria here. For those of you who don't know, Maria is relatively new to the business, but she set the world on fire in the short time that she's been here. Now you're thinking to yourself,
It's a really slow burn.
Now, look, there are people out there who've been in the industry for 50 plus years. And when you consider that, 33 years is just a drop in the bucket. It's just a 60% of the way to somebody who's been in this a really long time. So, it's important to feel young, youthful, important, and busy.
Does he do this to you?
It's really only when he has an audience.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
There
we're.
you
So at home you're quieter, he's
Yeah.
quieter.
Doesn't have to worry about that. All the batteries shut down, the whole thing is
Yeah, he expends all his energy here.
Yep.
So by the time he gets home, he's
petered out, completely petered out. It's
Okay,
wonderful.
well, I can understand how you can take him with you. It would be a lot.
She lets him in the door.
So there are, the Zoom is on, so it's exciting. Make sure that you know that anything that you say will make it up to the microphones and the human beings somewhere out there in La La Land,
An AI.
which is exciting. The AI
There's
will
some
be able to
damn bots
summarize
sitting out there
this.
listening.
And when we say the AI will be able to summarize this, you'll see that in just about the end of the week when Jamie posts a summary of it that he stole from AI, that AI stole from her. So it's all just a big ring of theft. Another gateway behavior. It's amazing. But with that, go ahead, Maria. Tell us some stories. You want the punchy thing though, right? You need the, as we call it in the show business, the pickle.
I don't even know how to start this button.
This
with a
button,
little
that's
arrow.
backwards, that's forwards.
Okay, thank you.
You bet, thank you.
So I know everybody in here and it puts like my anxiety level even higher
Oh.
because there's,
Well,
We're not judging.
yeah.
but I do not
Speak
know
for
this
yourself.
young
I've
lady
already
right here.
judged you.
Your name is? Caitlin or Maria? Nice to meet you there. Do you know everybody else in here?
I think so, yeah.
Great.
No, she doesn't, because I don't know her.
This is Misha.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Do you know Bryce too?
I've met Bryce.
So there's a lot of personality and a lot of experience in this room, so I don't know that I'm gonna tell you guys anything new that anybody's done, right? Because you guys have all done so much more than I have.
We're all
I've just been around longer.
We just do it differently, so yeah.
We all do things a little bit differently. So I was traumatized and thankful when Jamie came to me and said, will you please teach a class? And I'm like, oh, there's no teaching. Let's just have some fun and have some conversation about it. So I went into AI, I went into ChatGPT yesterday because I'm stressed about things. And I said, put together a format of a class to win with buyers. And so then it did this and it came up with all sorts of fun things. And then I started reading it and I'm like, okay, I don't know if we need to follow this because I never follow things the way they really should be, right? I think the goals here is how do you strengthen yourself in front of your buyers to develop some strategies and build those lifelong clients, the repeat business. I think that's always the most important thing to do is what can we do today that will create lifelong clients for us down the line. Winning with buyers is not just about serving and partnering with buyers. It is about partnering and serving them. It's not closing deals. I know that we talk all the time in this business, especially at KW, that we're not in a transactional business. We really are in a relationship. I think it's super, super important to gain trust. What's he doing?
We thought it was a real chat. It was just Jamie.
You showing up as a bot again?
Jamie's monitoring the chat.
Thanks, honey.
That's on the Zoom.
It's Trisha on there, isn't it?
There's 5.
Don't tell her that, she's
No
really
more
getting nervous.
Susan getting sweaty. The light's not even bright and I'm getting all sweaty up there. And so I think I'd love to make this way more interactive than just me standing up here because it doesn't make any sense for me to do this. We all have had examples of things that have happened to us that make us a better agent. So I'd love to hear throughout this, if you've had any challenges, let's kind of work through some of those, working with buyers. If you have something to share, please pop in and do that.
Oh, no more slides.
Oh, I'm touching.
When I had to listen to Jamie, it throws the whole thing off.
Thank you. I think one thing that we need to keep in mind here is today's buyers are super, super informed. They've gone online, they've gone on to ChatGPT, they've asked all the questions, but the reality of it is they're very, very overwhelmed by the amount of information. We do this every day. The average consumer out there doesn't do this every day. They buy a house every 7 to 10 years. And so we're walking in and really being the guide, and we need to build ourselves build ourselves as a trusted guide to how do we walk them through these transactions. And really how we need to do that is build trust. And how do we build trust? But by having clarity and communication with them and providing our knowledge to them. And so how do we develop our knowledge? I asked on Colin's call this morning, give me one way that you build knowledge, build trust with your clients, and it is getting out and knowing your contracts. Up, down, back and forth. There is a huge percentage of agents out there that do not understand the contracts in Minnesota. And so that is so important to when you sit down with your clients. I think we get lazy in this industry and we get, it's really easy to set up forms and email them to them, have them sign it, and they just click through the buttons and get to that high point. But we really, as a diligence, as a fiduciary responsibility to our clients, really need to walk through those contracts with them And the only way we can walk through the contracts with them is if we know them inside and out. So I think that's really, really important. And I think you set the stage right from the very beginning at your buyer consultation. And I think that's where this whole thing starts at, is when you meet somebody, whether you meet them online through a social, you meet them at a park, however you become introduced to them, I think you need to set the stage with those buyers, and that is to have an in-person consultation with them. I know Bryce has been doing some Zoom buyer consultations with them. I'm gonna guess you have some kind of a PowerPoint that you share with them. Do you do a screen sharing with them?
I actually don't. I really just do kind of like a one-on-one. What do you know about the process? What questions do you have right off the bat? Kind of figure out their experience in home buying,
Yeah.
and then just kind of go into different things that they're curious about, informing them about the process, and then getting their information about what they're looking for.
So I think what you're doing is you're asking an awful lot of questions.
Yes.
And you're listening.
Mm-hmm.
And you're taking notes.
Yep.
Or you got somebody taking
My
notes.
AI
for
takes
you.
notes, yep.
So that later you can come back to that and say, this is the stuff that I remember about you, and I'm able to kind of form again that trust and relationship with them. Yes.
I'd be curious if anybody out here, and Caitlin doesn't get to cheat and answer yes, but use that also as a way to generate leads by calling people up and asking to practice with them. Because we have found repeatedly that if you were to call somebody and say, hey, I'm working on my presentations at the end of the year, it's kind of slow, I tend to work on my presentations. Do you mind getting together with me and I'll get you coffee and you just listen to one of my contracts? And that process can be a great way both to practice, to introduce the ideas and the concepts and set yourself up for the future. Have you had any success with that or tried anything like that?
No, but it's a good idea and I'm writing it down.
Jason, that's actually a fantastic way, and I think it is when you're calling your sphere at the end of the year, your quarterly calls, and say, hey, I wanna practice on you. Do you have 5 minutes for me to kind of walk through this with you? I'll guarantee you at the end of that, they'll be like, I need to send my nephew to you, or I need you to talk to my neighbor.
And that's the real thing. I mean, you're not really trying to get a contract with them, although every once in a while that is what ends up happening.
Yeah.
It's especially depending on where you are, your familiarity with the person, it grounds your professionalism with them in a different way. That can be very helpful. So we've just found time and again that can be really helpful in creating a relationship out of it.
I love that.
Maria, do you have more than one presentation that you give? Like if you go talk to somebody and you're like, oh, these people, they want the abbreviated version versus the longer version. Do you like have different?
For sure, I think you need to, us as professionals, we need to learn to read our room. Which maybe I'm not real good at, but to be able to, if you've got somebody that's very analytical, they want to get to the meat and the bones. Like they want the numbers, they want to walk through those things. If you have somebody that's very emotional, you're going to lose them through the contract part of it. So how do you summarize those things? So I do think that you need to tailor yourself to them. If you find in your presentation you're losing somebody in there, I think that's when you need to stop talking and ask some more questions, and get them back involved in it. Does that answer your question on that one? I think the number one thing that buyers want is they want a guide. They want somebody that they trust to walk through this process with them. Cal?
I don't know if this fits in right at this moment, but what you just said as far as trust and informed but overwhelmed, they seek a trusted guide. Last night in Lab Code Agents, I noticed Tristan made a post talking about ChatGPT now has Zillow integration and blah, blah, blah. So, they can find their own homes, they can do all this stuff, but then it says, but here's what it can't do. It can't hold your client's hand and guide them through a challenging deal when a family member just died. It can't rationally talk to the client to guide them step by step using the right tone and person. It can't walk through a condo and spot the water damage they painted over or know that the building's HOA is about to hit everyone with a $50,000 special assessment. It can't negotiate when there are 5 other offers on the table and emotions are running high. It can't put the human element into the process because this business is about relationships and connecting with people on a deeper level. Go ahead and use ChatGPT and embrace what Zillow and your clients are doing. Just make sure you show up better for your clients, because at the end of the day, it's about how you make people feel.
Bam, that was the class right there.
Good job, Kelly.
Kelly,
Good
that's
job, Tristan.
That's exactly right.
So, yes, they can do a lot on their own and more, and yes, you do need to be more educated. You can't just show up and if they're like, oh, well, I checked with ChatGPT and it said this and this, you can't be like, but yeah, there's a lot of things that we as humans bring to the table.
I think it can be a little overwhelming even for us agents to know every single piece of what's going on up there. I have not played enough on ChatGPT, but last showings I had with clients, they said, well, we compare the city of Rosemont and the city of Lakeville to see which community we should live in that's better. And I thought, oh crap, which one? Like, we're looking at both. Which one do you want to be in? And they're like, well, this one has these positive, this one has this positive. So yeah, we need to know that too, but who's gonna get in the car? Like, you gotta get in the car and you're gonna walk these doors. And a lot of times I'll say, okay, we can know all of the things that are out there, but how does it feel when you walk in? What's the neighborhood that you're driving in? How does it feel? Do you see, the school where your children's gonna be at? Do you see people?
And your example of them asking ChatGPT between Rosemont and Lakeville, don't feel like that's your job, because it's not, because it's them who has to make that decision. What's important, you might look at it and go, oh, well, I go to Lakeville, and maybe there's something more important about Rosemont to them. So,
And again, I think that comes down to is you have to ask them, well, tell me, what did you find? And it allows you then to hear what they have to say and then be able to pull out what's the most important thing for them too, for sure. I think at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what is the most important thing that they want from us? And a lot of times that is just showing up and being there, listening to them, providing them with the knowledge and the information to get them where they need to be. And you're right, it's to hold their hand when their dog got hit by a car last week. Sorry, that's really traumatic.
Was that real? Oh, you fool with dogs all the time, I didn't
I
know.
love dogs. I would be so sad if that happened. I do also think that in the very beginning, it's really important during that buyer consultation to set yourself up as, an advisor, as your trusted advisor, and not just an order taker. Don't let them always set the tone for it. Make sure that you're still making yourself the professional on things. Take control of it. We talk a lot about this business kind of running you over. It's really easy to build a schedule and then have it collapse when the one client calls you and says, I want to go look at houses between 9 and 11, and that's your lead gen time, but that's what they're available, so you're gonna do it. I think sometimes you have to build those boundaries, and it's okay to say to people, you know what? After 5 o'clock on Sundays or 5 o'clock Monday through Friday, I'm not gonna answer your phone. Like, unless it's an emergency, unless we're in full negotiations, that is my time with my family. I think most people will actually appreciate that and respect you for it. I know that there are every client out there that's a little different, and you kind of need to tailor that to that. When you're doing that buyer consultation, I do usually have a notepad. I am not recording the conversation yet. Maybe at some point I will be. I have my notepad. I do have a questionnaire. When's the last time you bought a house? What did you like about that house? Where you're living now, what do you like about it, what do you not like about it? What are you hoping to have? What do you want to have? And again, there's this needs and wants list that you kind of go through there. Make sure that you are asking them how and when is the best time to communicate with them. There are some people, and I don't even want to say it's a generational thing, that like to be texted or called. There are certain people that only want to be texted, only want to emails, phone calls, whatever else. Make sure you ask them what their priority is as far as communication. And make sure that you let them know that your goal is to make sure that they are as confident every step of the way, because they have confidence in you, that you're providing them with good knowledge and stuff like that. Again, know your inventory, anticipate objections, script playing. We are gonna start script calling. Misha does that every week. She actually does it 3 times a week. It's amazing. 33 years of it, and I did it maybe for 6 months total in the beginning of my career. I'm gonna get back to doing that because I think it's really important to just, not that you wanna be scripted, but to know those objections and how to handle them. Jamie has been really good about having a book called Exactly What to Say. We've been doing some of that scripting in like kind of a breakout. That's a great thing to be a part of. Kind of allows you to lead those conversations in the direction that you want them to be. Explaining market trends, how to walk through offers, what does an inspection period look like, what should we expect out of inspections. This is all kind of going through during my buyer consultation. I'm walking through all of these things with these people. Again, how much time do we have? How much do they really want to know? And is now the right time to talk about buyer inspections, or do we just gloss over it? And when we get to that stage, do we go into more depths about it? I think you kind of need to read the room on stuff. I think it is also really important to have partnerships with lenders that you can refer, and your vendor list. I know that we all, who's ever been through a BOLD program or not been through a BOLD program yet, the one big thing on the days is come up with your vendor list, call around and find who your plumbers are and everything else. I can't tell you how many times I do get those phone calls during a transaction, after a transaction, where people are like, I need a HVAC person, or I need somebody to clean my carpets, who do you know? So have those lists together so that you're not stumbling for it. Kelly is exceptional, Bryce is, if you ever need anybody to tell you who to call or whatever else, these guys are exceptional about, here's my guy. And that's because they've developed relationships with those people that feel really good about it.
You mentioned that offer as an education win, and I know that I was working with an agent a few weeks back, and he just couldn't get they were going and seeing showings, they're going to showings, they're going to showings, and they're not getting any progress. And I'm like, why don't you just go over the offer? Go over what an offer looks like, because their stumbling block is the fear of that process.
Yeah.
So everything has to be perfect. And by taking some time before there was an offer to be made to review the offer, suddenly they were much more willing to make an offer. And I think sometimes that we, again, as you mentioned very at the very beginning, our comfort with stuff does not equate to their comfort
Very
with
much
it.
so.
And the more comfort you can bring to that process, the more easy you can make that process, the better. Because right now, your competition, this guy out there, is saying, walk away from your house. You don't have to do anything. We'll just make your house go away.
Yeah.
And that appeals and sets a standard in the market that this can be easy. And if you're not making it easy for your buyers to say yes, it's gonna be hard to do so. So the more of that kind of stuff you can do, now I'm not saying jam it into that initial meeting, because that's probably too much. But if you get that sense that you're not making progress, that's a great way to start that wheel moving forward.
Jason, that's exactly, you're 100% correct about this. Sometimes when you're 5 or 6 houses in, and they seem to be telling you the buying signs are there, they love this house, they're putting their furniture in there, but they're not willing to make that next step. That might be where you take that second consultation and say, let's just do this. Let's just walk through what does an offer look like. And I know I tell my buyers this all the time when they've said, I think we want to buy this house. And I'm like, okay, like that's super exciting. I'm gonna go through line by line with you on this offer, and we're gonna figure it out, and you're gonna make sure that you're comfortable with it, and what the terms that we're gonna provide to the seller is gonna work for all parties here. So I do think sometimes you have to slow it down in order to move it forward, for sure.
Oh, yeah? Can I throw something out there?
Yeah.
I like to use the phrase, like in talking to them, when I'm going over the buyer contract as well as the actual purchase agreement. When you're saying, you go by it, go through it line by line. I will explain to my buyers that, yes, let's go through this so that you know what you're signing and you know how you're protected.
Yes.
That's what I like to say, so that you understand how you're protected. Because hopefully that brings some amount of peace to them that,
Again, they trust you. They want to know at the end of this that they are protected and that you've looked out for their best interests. I can't tell you how many times when I'm going through just this first initial agency form and you're going through the fiduciary responsibilities and you're like, going through them, and then at the end you're like, the basics is I'm just gonna act in your best interest at all times. Unless you ask me to break the law, I'm gonna do as you tell me to do, and we're a partnership in this, and just the amount of stress that releases on them is pretty awesome. The bottom one for me, I will tell you, is probably my biggest hurdle when working with buyers is, and I do warn my buyers when I'm walking through houses with them that I have to be careful about my mouth when it comes to things, because there's been lots of times that I've walked into a bedroom and wanted to throw up on the shag carpeting, and they come behind me and say, oh my God, I love this green shag carpeting. It reminds me of my grandparents. So you do have to learn to be careful of your opinions on things. But I think the biggest thing that I find is when you are in negotiations with the other agent is learning to kind of buffer those emotions in there. How do I say this politely? There is a lot of cruddy agents out there. That wasn't maybe the right way to say that?
No, that was very nice, very diplomatic.
And I think that the one thing that I have found through this is, and Bryce is on the professional standards committee with me, is the one thing that drove me to be on that was because I just wanted to elevate our profession and make us better than what I was seeing out there. So not that I want to use it as a schooling time for another agent, because that's not necessarily the time you want to do it, is when you're in a heated negotiation. But we do need to all be better than the average agent out there. Or
Do you have any examples that you could share?
I have a lot of examples that we can do about agents that have done things poorly. And a lot of times it comes down to they haven't listened to their clients, they haven't followed their instructions, the clients felt misled and felt that they were duped into something. So to be very honest through the whole transaction makes a huge difference. The way we treat one another, it's the golden rule, and really it should be, what's the other rule?
That's right.
Platinum.
You treat others the way you would actually want to be
How
treated.
they want to be treated.
How they would want to be treated, exactly. So, you just gotta do the right things out there. So sometimes staying calm and reassuring through negotiations or through some of we all have had very difficult clients. And let me just say this, that it's okay sometimes to fire those clients if they've caused too much stress in your situation. If you feel like you cannot help them, it's okay to refer them. It's okay to say, Jen's got an amazing, calming personality. I'm gonna hand this person off to Jen because she's just gonna bother them, right? And sometimes it just takes a different personality. I had a set of buyers that was a relocation buyer coming in from out of town. He was very, very high drive. He was very, very condescending to women, and he just rubbed me really wrong. And I just referred him to a male agent, and they got along fantastic. The transaction went through perfectly. He just needed a strong energy to kind of bump up against without it being confrontational. And I felt like every time I was talking to him that I was having to claw my way out of it, and it didn't set right for me. So it's okay to, maybe not fire, pass them on, hand them off
Or
to
just
somebody
fire
else.
them because they're so terrible you wouldn't even give them to your own worst enemy.
And so-
There are some like that.
There
It's
are.
like, I don't even want to refer you to somebody because you're that much of a pain.
So if that happens to you, Bryce, how do you have that conversation with them?
I let them know, I'm like, you know what, and I've only fired like 2 clients
Yeah.
ever. And it just gets to the point where it's like, okay, if I can't handle you, like, I don't even know who I would send you to, because I'm very patient and I wait a long time. I just tell them, I'm like, you know, we're not a good fit to work together. Clearly you don't trust me and the advice that I'm giving you, and we're just at a point where it just doesn't make sense for us to continue working together. And I let them know, I'll send you over a written notification that you're released from your contract and you're free to work with anyone you'd like.
Have you ever referred them to somebody else and found out from that agent, why did you do that to me? Right?
I did that once.
And that's where you probably say, I'm not gonna do that to somebody else.
Yeah, and that's why I probably will never do it again, because it's like, if I can't handle them, like, then I'm just like, I don't know why I would send them to somebody else that I respect, you know?
Do you know what happened to the people that you fought? Like, did they end up finding someone to deal with them?
I'm sure they did. I usually, I could sit there and spin my wheels all day long if I like went and searched that stuff out, and it'd probably drive me crazy, so I just let it go and.
So you didn't even ask for a referral fee at that point, you just wanted them gone?
No.
Yeah.
See you later.
Yeah, for sure.
Lance, how about you? In your tenured career, he's been in the business just as long as the rest of us here.
Yeah, I'd say I've fired a shit ton of people.
It feels good some days to do that, doesn't it?
Yeah, sometimes it's best thing you can do,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean, it just takes a lot off your shoulders, and you can devote your time to the rest of your clients instead of all your energy going to that one. That's just such an energy suck.
The crappy part is knowing when to do it though too.
Yeah,
Because,
that's true too.
because sometimes you let it go for too long and you're
You got so
like,
much
then
time
you know they're
invested.
gonna go, then they go look at one house with one other person, end up buying it, and you're like, one more, that's all I needed,
It's
one
like
more.
when you sit at the slot machine and you get up and the next person wins, you're like, dang it, I already put in $300.
Jason?
30 years in retail teaches you a lot about how to de-escalate people.
Yes.
And one of the things is that the termination conversation, if you don't necessarily go all that way, can straighten out a lot of people.
So in other words,
You don't necessarily always have to go to that way. I mean, obviously, you're gonna make that decision as you go, but hey,
Make the
it
threat.
really feels like we're not clicking, and we need to have a
Yes.
kind of get-together thing. Because of that, when you term them, if you end up terming them as a client, it's not uncommon for them to go out and immediately find a house and make an offer. Because now they realize something different, and they're approaching it differently. They've grown, you lose. But you win, because in the end, you don't have, without having had that, that never would have happened.
Correct.
And so, as frustrating as it might be to find out later that that went really well for them, the realistic is that it would never have occurred without that conversation.
That's just karma. Like, send them out, they get the benefits, and you know what, the next one that comes to you is gonna be beautiful.
Maria?
Yes.
One thing I think that helps with this is if you, just like we do with sellers, you know, we do like a pre-list packet for the sellers to kind of set the stage, or some kind of pre-listing conversation, and then sit down with them and have a consultation. I think we should be doing that with the buyers. And then hopefully during that consultation, you can pick up on the cues. If this is somebody you're not gonna wanna work with, you can cut bait early on instead of 10, 15, 30 showings in, right?
I think that consultation, the initial buyer consultation is
I think it's
absolutely
critical, and I
focusing.
think
Yes.
sometimes with the way the market is and technology, it's so quick now to just jump and go. Instead of having the consultation, instead of going over what a purchase agreement looks like, and agency forms, you know, setting the stage ahead of time before you show them really helps out.
It creates that order of things for them.
Yep.
And that does create.
Gives
that
you
trust.
control too.
Absolutely. We all love, in this business, we all have a little bit of control issues. If If you talk to any big producer in here, they all don't wanna hire the first assistants because they're afraid to give them control of their transactions. We all kind of stumble on those type of things. So that is our egos. I mean, we like to have control over it. Sometimes we don't always have control. But the more you can take in and steer the boat, the better off it's gonna be there. So again, through me, the stress points, those buyer consultations, inspection periods, have a conversation about earnest money with your buyers, please. So I can tell you how many times you get to the purchase agreement and it's been signed and you tell them, I'm sending you the trust funds, and they're like, what? And I'm like, no, you're supposed to have this money ready, like, let's go. Like, so again, that comes back to those initial buyer consultations, making sure they kind of have that. And a handout, something to give them that kind of outlines that process, I think is crucial for your buyers. Because if they don't remember it, because it's so overwhelming, they can go back and look at that from you guys. Again, just, having unrealistic expectations, you've got to use your data to realign those expectations with it. If you've got buyers out there that want, a 5-bedroom, 3-bath house with a 3-car garage on a half-acre lot, and they want to spend $300, we need to have those conversations with them. And maybe that doesn't get them in Lakeville, it gets them in Red Wing. Like, how far do we have to drive for them to qualify? So setting those expectations. Indecisive buyers is something that you may not find right away during your buyer consultation, and you may not find that until you get out with them a couple of times, that they're really indecisive, or you've got a buyer, two, Mr. and Mrs. or Mr., where you've got different expectations and one super motivated and one just, doesn't wanna pull the trigger on things. So again, providing some clarity and reassurance to them makes a huge difference. Walking through them when you've got competing offers, that's something that you should talk about briefly in the beginning before you get into it. I think that I have found over the last 7 years or so, buyers are pretty aware that they're gonna be in a multiple offer situation. I think the media has spun that so deep that now they're expecting every offer is supposed to be multiples. So I think they're at least sort of prepared for that. But what does that actually mean, and what strategy are you gonna bring to that negotiations for them? Burnout is on both sides. Burnout is for us, and burnout is also for your buyers. If they've been out and they've gotten, beat out on 2 or 3 houses, they've kind of taken the fun out of it for them. How do you get them remotivated? How do you, again, develop, how do we keep moving on things? I've got a buyer right now that I'm working with that I have been working with for 3.5 years. And they resurface about every 6 months and say they want to go look at 3 or 4 houses. And we go look, and they're like, we love this one. I'm like, okay, let's make an offer. We make an offer, they don't get it, they come in really low, it just doesn't happen, and then they kind of ghost out. I see them on the portal, they're looking at houses, I'll talk to them once a week, and they're like, we're just not ready. I'm like, well, when are we getting ready?
So question on that, so like when you are putting together the offer with them, are they just not following your advice when you're giving them the advice on how to win that particular home?
Both.
Okay.
Yes, we are. On some of them, we have followed mine, and we still didn't get it, because they didn't feel comfortable putting those clauses in there about your, multiple offers, your escalation clauses.
Sure.
Bryce has got a fantastic escalation clause that he puts into his contracts about you'll beat the highest and best offer, period. Not with no cap on it, no nothing. And then when it comes back to you guys, your buyer has the right to basically accept that or not. Most people are afraid of that.
Yeah.
Because it kind of puts it out into infinity for them, and that's what they think of. So sometimes it's about reminding them that they then have control back on things. The other piece of it then is they're getting advice from their brother who lives in Chicago, or their uncle that's in Minneapolis has bought a house in 25 years. So it's been a different one for sure. CC.
Do you and other agents, do you experience burnout with those type of
Yes.
clients? Like
Yes.
where you just decide like, okay, this roller coaster is enough, like
Yes.
what does that look like? How does that sound?
Sometimes it means, Misha, can you show this house for me
Okay,
to
okay,
these clients?
sure.
just passing them off, partnering with somebody, because maybe sometimes they just need a different fresh eyes.
Yeah,
on things.
sometimes a fresh look can change the whole complexity of the deal.
Okay.
And even a short-term fresh look.
Yeah.
To walk through it with somebody else. So burnout is also self-care.
Okay.
We have to take care of ourselves too. We all know that this industry is extremely roller coaster. We try hard through lead generation to not have that happen, but we all know that you get your highs and your lows in this. I go through full-blown, can't get out of bed the next day after I've negotiated a contract and it is done and I'm like on the high and I'm like, yes. The next day I'm like, I'm out of business. Like, I gotta go to work tomorrow. Like, it's very emotional for me too. And maybe that's again where I come back to, I need to learn to steady my own emotions on things because I get you get so excited for them. And then when it's done, it's like, okay, next step, gotta go. So it is important to keep that going. Again, building lifetime relationships, making sure that you're staying connected with your clients through notes, the neighborhood nurture programs. Make sure that you are their go-to real estate resource. That's where that vendor list comes in handy. That can be a great post-closing gift. That if they're in the house after a month to stop by and say, I just want to provide my vendor list again to you guys. I know houses change and things change, your needs change. I want to make sure that you know how to, reach out to certain people that I've gotten great relationships with. And then also know that, relationships always lead to, referrals and future clients. Trust, clarity, calm, confidence. Again, trying to stay calm through the whole thing for them. Keep things level. Be very, very available to them for communication. Communicate clearly and consistently, guide with empathy and professionalism, and then build relationships that last well beyond closing. I know that for me, again, this kind of comes to that empathy thing. I built such a strong relationship with my clients, and then we close, and then you're on to the next client, and you have a tendency to not do great follow-up afterwards, even though you had a great relationship with them. So that's always a challenge for me personally, is to keep those relationships moving. We have within our command system some great resources that are available to kind of keep you connected and do those type of things. And I think that's it. Yeah, that's it on this slide. Cece, question?
I'll let Cece go.
Okay, so, I know Sarah Anderson talked a little bit about this, but I'd love to hear from you all as well. Because I'm sure a lot of you, all of you, have represented your friends and your family. So I want to know how you shifted out of that friendship or out of friend zone so that they trusted you as an actual real estate professional advisor. Like, what does that shift look like? How did you get out of that zone so they actually trusted you and not lean on the friendship for you to do extra or go above and beyond? Or, how did you shift out of friend zone to professional?
I don't. If they're, depending on the kind of friend they are, we're friends throughout the whole process and they know that I'm gonna do whatever I can as the professional, whether they're my friend or not. And because we're friends, I can talk to them crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And it helps, through the process, whether I'm like, look, you gotta pick up the dog poop or whatever. So I think I lean more into the fact that we're friends than try to separate those.
And I think what I'm talking about is what Sarah was talking about was that because she was a friend, she wasn't being chosen, right? Because they were, I like you and you're great and we have a really fun time, but when it comes to I don't see you as a professional representative. So how did you, I think I'm talking about those circumstances, how you got chosen.
Because I was different, and that's what I'm saying.
You're saying for
I haven't
you,
had, it's because you're, like, I had a client that we used to work in my full-time job together. She left, went somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
I would post that I was in real estate. She called me and she was like, hey, we need a real estate agent. I was like, okay, and she was like, we want you. Because I was her friend, hadn't talked to her in forever. So again, I think
But
maybe
she saw you in the light of being a real estate agent.
I like to make it really awkward, so if I'm out golfing with my buddies from college and they all own houses, and they bought these houses before I even got in the business. I've looked at them and said, hey, you moving anytime soon? No. And I look at them and say, well, when you're ready to move, are you gonna be calling me?
Yeah.
Like, I make it really awkward, like, I'll have the conversation ahead of time and just say, hey, if you were about to move, would you feel comfortable using me as your agent? Why or why not?
So you just ask.
I just ask them.
Yeah.
Because if they're your friend, if they're truly your friend first, then you should be able to have those conversations ahead of time.
I agree.
So you didn't make the assumption that they were gonna choose
No,
you.
I didn't
You
make
made
the
sure
assumption.
This
I
can't
can't
make the
still a
assumption
friend,
in
but
business.
I'm still running a
Right,
business, so I
yeah.
had that conversation.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, Cece, the other thing is, that's one of those places, and I don't think you were here when we talked about it, but that's one of those places where, can I practice a script with you, really helps
Sure.
bridge that gap. Because then they can see you in that role distinctly from your friendship role. But I 100% agree with Bryce.
Yeah.
And that is, you gotta talk to them, you gotta say the words. You have to say the words to the people who are close to you that says, hey, I know that if you were looking to buy or sell real estate, you would have already called me.
Yeah.
Who else do you know that is, so I can help them? And just consistently reassert that. And then the other strategy that works really well is just have them go to your wife. Because then they don't realize that they know that they don't have to deal with Pirate Jason, they can deal with a professional.
Yeah.
But that may not work for all of you.
Yeah.
I think it's super important what happens
Yeah.
after that, though, too,
Yeah.
because if you do have a friend that's going someplace else or they're not using you, how you handle that, because that could be future business for you, even though they use somebody else that time, like having that conversation and saying, hey, I know I'm really disappointed we didn't get a chance to work together, you know, we're really good friends, I wanna understand why that happened. And I'm sorry if I did something that made you feel like you weren't comfortable utilizing me as your agent. And then have that dialogue that way so that the next time they are ready to buy or sell, that they do call you instead of the other person.
That's being.
Instead of ruining the
I was
relationship.
just saying that's being a way
Because-
bigger person.
Because too many people ruin the relationship because they get bent out of shape that they weren't the ones that got you.
I have done that. I mean, I have flat out said that, you know, who I thought was very, very good friends of mine, bought a house, and I said, you guys, like, you literally just told, you know, you love my kids. You literally took their college tuition out of their hands by this sale. There's an emotional part.
What did they say? What happened?
They said, you're right. I'm really sorry. And because I don't think they understand sometimes what that actually means. Now, did that harm our relationship? For sure it did. But it was me. It was on my side.
Your words ruined it, like
Well,
your approach.
afterwards I was just mad at her.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to understand,
Like,
so.
I was just mad at her, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
How long had you been an agent when that happened? Like, was that?
25 years?
Last
Okay.
Last week.
Shouldn't have happened, because I should be more in control of that stuff.
Yeah.
But there are times, my husband's side of the family, I've worked with 3 of them out of those years. And none of them have moved recently in like the last 20 years, but like my husband says to him, why, when the niece is going to buy a house, they should be calling Maria. And right now I'm working, Lance came with me on a listing appointment with my nephew and his fiance, and they're flat out, why would we use anybody else? Like, you love us, like you're gonna take care of us, like we love your family. And I'm like, yeah, because there's nobody that's gonna take better care of you than me. Like, there's nobody that has better interests out for you guys.
So did you ever ask your friend why she went with somebody else?
Yeah, it was an off-market listing, and it was another friend within our social, and they took him to an off-market listing and showed it to him. So, I mean, was it sort of out of my control? Maybe. But I sort of look back on it and think, okay, I failed somewhere along the line because they didn't feel like they should have called me right away and said, so-and-so has an off-market
Did
listing.
you know that they were looking?
Yeah, we've been looking at houses.
Oh.
She took money out of your kids' college fee, feeder day.
I think I'd be a little salty.
Yeah, that's a different
Yeah,
circumstance.
no,
Yeah, that's.
we've been looking at lots of properties for, yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we talk to this
Okay.
heifer?
Okay, we're all like, oh.
That makes
I
sense.
see.
She
You're
had that.
probably not gonna get
Makes sense.
invited to the
The context is
holiday
better, you're
party.
not.
Yes,
Yes.
we're not judging you anymore, we're judging her.
Jamie?
First of all, Tricia says never burn a bridge, you may have the opportunity to cross it in the future, so don't burn the bridge. And did y'all feel how silent it got when you articulated exactly, you painted the picture of exactly what that meant, that person didn't use you?
Yeah.
That's the key with some of this stuff that we're talking about when it comes to the buyers that are wishy-washy.
Yeah.
Are we painting, do we know their future desires and vision enough to consistently paint that picture of them in that final destination enough so that whether you're a friend or a family member, it's like, okay, she gets my vision, I want that.
Yes. Yes. Jason?
Gonna go with that same motion. People respond to stories.
Yeah.
Stories help
I'm
them
not gonna say
visualize.
that story, that,
But,
We can
I
change the
mean,
names
you have to
sometime.
help them visualize the situation. That's a super important part. And 9 times out of 10, when somebody is making an emotional decision, we try to respond with facts. And that gets us nowhere but our wheels spinning. And we have to answer
the
the
empathy piece of it,
emotion
yeah.
part first
Yeah.
before they're open to the facts. And we have to be in the same place, right? I mean, here's 7 reasons why this is a good idea for you to buy this house. I'm afraid.
Yeah.
The reasons aren't gonna help right now. And stories are a great way to impart both emotion and facts. And that's why they work so strong.
And I think that's why being able to share stories together, maybe my story isn't the one that needs to be told, maybe it's Dawn's story that needs to be told. So when we can share those with each other, I think that makes a huge difference. Cal?
I think sometimes friends or family are afraid that you're going to know their finances.
Yeah.
And even so, a lot of times when I meet with people, meet with buyers who I don't even know them, you know, maybe they were referred by somebody or whatever, and I kind of talk about confidentiality, and I just explain, that the price of the house is public information, but if I know something about you as far as, your finances, or something like that, that's what I'm confidential about. I said, and I always say, but honestly, I don't know the intricacies of your finances. All I want to know from your lender is what the number is and that you can do it. I don't know anything beyond that because it doesn't matter to me.
How do you, I totally agree with you on that, and during my consultations, it's always, I'm gonna hand you over to a lender that I have a partnership with, or I'm gonna refer you to a couple of people that I have a partnership with, and they're gonna get into the fine details with you. I don't need to know it, I just need to know at the end of the day, what do you feel comfortable paying for a house?
Yeah.
On
The
that, I
other
don't care.
thing though that I think is interesting is, we get upset when friends and family don't work with us. But then what do we do when someone comes into an open house or you hear someone is using their aunt or their cousin or their sister? We immediately go to, well, what if that deal goes wrong? Are you gonna
How's that
wanna
gonna
sit
be a
across?
Christmas time?
Yeah, exactly.
So we're hypocritical is what you're saying.
Yes, 100%.
So how do you think it's gonna work now, and this may be off topic here, but with the Agent Plus program that we have available to us? Trying to keep that line between confidentiality and comfort for the client that maybe doesn't want to share that stuff. Jeez.
I think that I don't want to share my stuff as a surface level objection for them. And it's not really deep, but it is a surface level objection. If you can articulate how much that would help them for you to know, then suddenly it's a different story. Because at the end of the day, going back to this guy, what they really want is simple. And I have yet to talk to somebody who said to me in any context or way, what I'd really like to do is talk to 8 different people to make this transaction work. That's my passion, is talking to 8 different people, right? And so any step that I can eliminate or alleviate that concern helps them understand the simplicity of it. And as we move forward, I mean, most people have gotten used to the point that I can buy it online and it shows up. That's kind of the transaction I want for this. I wanna go look at the houses and then I wanna move in. I don't wanna deal with all the other people, parts, and places.
What do statistics say, the buyer works with the agent that picks up the phone, the first person that they get to talk to, what's the percentage? It's like
Yeah, it's
astronomical,
insane.
like, they're gonna work with you if you call them back immediately. So they don't, you're right, they don't wanna shop around, they wanna talk to one person and get it done and move forward.
And so I think when it comes to Agent Plus, I think that you've gotta, again, you've gotta respond to the
Build that
emotion.
trust.
You've gotta have the emotional thing, yeah, that, you know, it can be challenging to share your finances, I understand that. Then I go into you go into confidentiality, and then you go, and why this makes everything easier is, right?
One call.
How this makes it simple for you. There's not this whole intermediary that has to play this game where, all right, I need you to talk to your lender to get the pre-approval letter. I can take care of that for you. I can take care of that for you. It's off your plate. Let's just go find some places.
Good advice, guys. Thoughts, questions? Dawn, do you have any good strategies now that you've been working? It's been busy.
Well, I mean, just thinking about what Cece was kind of referring to, you know, I do, because obviously I'm new to this industry. I have a friend who bought like March, so like I got my license, I mean, so I'm not mad at her for not using me.
Right, not waiting.
But my goal is that she will next time use me, and that people that she knows, because she has a very big influential circle, and so I'm like, how can I then become her referral agent instead of the person she used? So that's what my
That's a
goal
great
is at this
attitude.
point, you know, it's like not worry about the deals lost. I am salty at my neighbor who didn't use me this summer. I mean, anyway, he decided to use the agent that sold him the house a few years ago, so I can't be mad that I think that agent followed up with him, but I was like, what? I have looked at that house and thought, I wonder if he's like really good friends with that agent, or if he
And it was his
knows
best
that.
client, it was his best agent.
Yeah, I mean, he could have been a good friend, but they moved out of state and they're not gonna use that agent again. They could have used his neighbors, but.
Did you ask him, like, before he moved, like, hey, how come you didn't interview me, or?
No, I didn't.
I think that social media does some real wonders for us too. When you talk about putting yourself in a different light, is your persona on social media really can set the stage for family and friends. So if they see you being busy, and maybe you're not that busy, but you're previewing houses and you're throwing up videos, or you're, you know, doing walkthrough Wednesdays or whatever it is, it really gives the illusion that you're really busy, and people do want to work with people that are successful. So the more that they can see your success, I think the more people want to work with you. So I think that changes the lights of people, like how they see you on things. I can't tell you, since coming over to Keller Williams, because maybe it's because you guys tag me and everything, now we're doing these really weird things. But I have more people come up and they're like, oh my God, you were just killing it. And I'm like, yes! I am, because that's what they see. And whether I am or I'm not, it doesn't matter, because they think I am, and so of course I am. So you just gotta step into it and enjoy that.
Question, so do you give a family or friend discount?
Charge more.
On the buyer or the seller side.
Well, I kind of agree with you, Kelly.
I knew you were going there.
On the buyer or the seller side,
Well, since we're talking buyer side,
no,
you don't
no. And
give back part of the commission or anything like that?
Oh, that.
No.
They ain't a charity, huh?
Yes.
Not a
Okay, he
charity.
was gonna use you.
Hell no, I love Kelly's help.
Yeah.
If I can charge more with family, frankly, I'm going to.
I was just talking to an agent the other day who I think is a little bit newer, and she was working with an uncle or something. And he was like so demanding, and I said, that's why people say that working with families and friends is the worst, because they think that they have access to you 24/7 and they're demanding, and
Yeah. That's
Then
really
don't
where
let
you
'em.
gotta set those boundaries.
Mhm.
You do need those buyer consultations, I think, with your family or friends,
Yeah.
that more than you even need them with a stranger.
Mhm.
Because you need to set those boundaries from the beginning on things.
And so I would also, I mean, if you were ever thinking about it, the the broker admin commission is a great way to leverage a discount for the family. Because, I mean, you could say it charges whatever. I mean, normally I charge $1,000, but for you being a friends and family, we knock that down to $499.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
And
100%.
they, I mean, at the end of the day, you're acknowledging that they deserve
Yeah.
something, but you're not giving them anything.
Marking it up and then
to be
putting it
clear-
on sale.
Retail over there, retail.
Just to be clear, I charge a $1,500 BAC.
Right.
And we'll give a discount of $500 off of that to them.
Get it, Lance.
Get it. Dang it, I
And
made up.
since I've implemented this,
Have you had anybody push back?
not one person. No,
Do they ask, what am I paying for?
sure,
And what do you tell them?
administrative services with the company.
Okay, cool.
I call it the keep the lights on fee.
You can, yeah, you can dial that in there too, for
Yeah,
sure.
Keep the lights on fee. We got offices, buildings, employees, all
Gotta
sorts of
store that for
overhead.
70 years.
This is how I compensate my
Yeah.
assistant.
Yep.
Whatever you're gonna say. It's all
What do you
part of
charge
those.
for your BAC?
Right now, I'm at $650.
And so your friends and family get a $500 discount from
No,
them.
they don't get any.
But when he wants the discount, he.
If I wanna be nice, then I discount.
If I want to
Friends
be
and
nice.
family.
I need to start charging more.
I'm telling you, try it
Yeah.
once, and they will not, I've not had one person even question it.
And obviously, it's all in the way you say it too. You have to
Yeah.
present it with confidence and like it's no big deal.
It's cost of business, everything else is going up, you heard of
Yeah.
tariffs?
Yep.
It's a land.
I know,
He's got his
Is it not
phone number.
true?
Well, they have a DAG tax, so there you go.
There you go.
Yeah.
No, the worst I ever saw, I've been in the business probably 6-7 months. I sat in this cubicle at Coldwell, and there's a couple other people sat in the cubicle with me, and there's this lady in the cubicle, young lady who was busy as heck with like family, cutting deals for them, and she was cutting deals each one had a different deal going
Oh,
on.
no.
And then it
That's what they all
all
talk.
collapsed on
Thank
top
you.
of her, because they chit-chatted at a family function.
Yep.
That's why family and friends, you gotta just stay.
It's gotta be
That's
one
otherwise
call,
you're screwed.
because they will chat.
Yes, they will. Yes.
If you
So
charge
I
them
s-
all 1,000, then sheesh.
That's right. So, I don't know, because I think family from time to time and friends will try to take advantage and come in thinking you're gonna give them a heck of a deal.
You can talk to them though a little bit differently than you can regular people.
Correct.
Not Lance.
Sometimes.
Not Lance.
I mean,
They're all the same.
well, your family, I'm like, hey, you take the food off my table, I'm
Thank
not giving you a discount, I can't.
You gonna put up my kid when I can't feed her?
Exactly.
You want a discount?
You're gonna take tuition out of my kid's mind?
Yeah.
When I bring my car to you to repair, you're giving me a 20-30% discount
Exactly.
on the repairs on my car. Why should I give you this on my fee?
And what if they say, well, I will give you that 20% discount on your car repair?
Well, when you do, then we'll talk on the next time you purchase.
So, could you guys tell she was nervous?
No.
No.
No, she's never nervous.
Stop, Maria. This guy's-
Yay! You did good, friend.
Recordings? I do have a question.
Yeah.
Okay, so she bought with another person in your friend circle. So you're friends with that other realtor,
Well, yeah.
and she knew that,
Which then I got her husband on a professional standards call.
Oh.
I was gonna say, because if you had been showing her houses, was there something that happened there?
No, see, we were looking at acreage, like, they wanted acreage.
Yeah.
And then they ended up buying on the lake. And she told me after they moved in, she goes, it was absolutely not what I wanted, but it was what her boys wanted. They
Her
wanted to
boys
have,
want
her boys.
The people that ain't paying for nothing?
But parents do that a lot for their kids.
No, we don't.
You do a good job.
What you put in on?
No, they don't.
Especially something that